Running 101.
Running 101.
Running 101.
Hello and welcome to Running 101, where we will be bringing you the journeys and the experiences of fellow runners, of the pros, of the amateurs, of the beginners. Today, I'm bringing Usman onto the call. Should be joining us shortly. Usman, I would say, is an example of having been there, conquered quite a bit, having decided to focus on other elements of whether that be life, but then revisit and come back and pick up from where he had left off. Well, let's just get to the point. Let's bring Osman on. Assalamu alaikum, Osman. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm great. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
I have to say thank you for giving us your time today. Welcome to Running 101.
Thank you.
Uh, how have things been lately for you?
Uh, Very well, very busy, and right now, very hot.
Yeah, I know the temperature's picking up. So, Usman, let's hear it. Let's get started. Let's get an introduction from yourself. So, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and where you're located?
Right. Right now, I'm in Staines, which is just the other side of Heathrow Airport if you're a Londoner. Um, um, yeah, I'm a Londoner. I feel like a London, born in North London. Um, uh, Studied in Sheffield, lived in Spain for a while, but eventually came back. This is where I'm at the moment. Um, but most significantly in terms of running, where I am, it's very close to a river, which is fantastic for anyone um, wanting to run, do it from a regular basis, and being able to run from your front door is something that is a luxury that I have, and there's no day that I won't appreciate that.
Given the temperatures we have, I bet
Mm,
you don't think twice about whether you want to jump right in there sometimes too.
absolutely.
Okay, so Usman, let's cut to the chase. Let's talk about where running started for you.
Right. From when I could walk, I always loved running at school. Sport in general,
Hmm.
sports have always been in me.
Hmm.
And from running across the school playground, it was something felt I could do well. It's something that gave me happiness. Um, and that's never really changed, really. From uh, running at school, running for school, getting uh, doing it for competition, which is what I really loved. That really got me going.
Oh wow,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, and secondary school age, I joined a running club. Was a sprinter, competed in sort of local events, regional, and once or twice actually made it sort of national things. Um, and then it really evolved um, when I moved sort of at university age, things were a little bit different, and then different again when I lived in Spain. There was nowhere near a running track, um,
Right, wow.
and this
What
completely
year are
new.
we talking about, by the way?
Oh, so this is late 90s, 1997,
Hmm.
um, and I'd never done any distance running at that time. I'd had a well, I've still got a track career. I'd dedicated myself to sprinting for 10 years leading into
Right,
that.
sure.
Had a coach, was a member of a running club in
Hmm.
North London Athletics Club. Um, but the furthest I'd ever run was for a couple of laps for warm up. Um, except for um, except for at school's cross country, I used to occasionally get picked for the cross country team, just because the PE teacher thought, oh, he likes sport, he'll do. Um, so had to do the cross country, hated it a couple of times. Um, but living in Spain, it was uh, my wife, was my wife at that time. She suggested that there was this program, a preparation program for the Madrid Marathon, and it never even crossed my mind. But I thought, well, I haven't done any running for a while because I don't live near a track. She said, "Why don't we sign up for this?" It was an 8 week program, so we ended up both doing it. Um, and I was completely unprepared, knew nothing about
Right.
distance running or road running or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was really kind of a new dawn, a rebirth for me.
So we're talking about marathons now, yeah?
Yes, that was a marathon. Yeah,
What year was this?
that was 2000. Uh,
Okay, which and Madrid did you say?
That's in Madrid. Yeah, it's a quite different social aspect to running to what it is in the UK. Very male dominated.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
not quite that community aspect, although it is nowadays. It has, but at
Of
that
course,
time it
sure,
was
sure.
very different.
So, Osman, like, how did you do? And what was the training like for that?
The first time that was awful, but it was an introduction to something new. Um,
Do you remember how you did?
I
Like, what
can
time you had?
remember the time. It was around about the 5 hour mark, just under 5 hours. But I was very complacent beforehand, thinking I've played football, run, done all these things all my life. I'm fit. I don't need to. So went for a few jogs as preparation. But I had to walk across the finish, and it was the only first time I'd ever had to walk in a
Wow.
running race, and that was for me was um, I don't want to say humiliating, but it was more like I felt defeated. That's probably the best way of
Hmm.
describing it. So
So, wait, did it leave its mark enough for you to want to do it again or give it
abso-
another shot?
absolutely, the people I'd met in that build up, got to know them better. Um, Started running. I didn't think of another marathon, obviously, but I did think about getting involved into sort of local, 5Ks and things.
Hmm.
Um, it's nothing like park run. It was kind of a club thing, and then I volunteered to help out at a couple of the events. Got more involved with the coach, and then 3 years later, feeling
Hmm.
much stronger, I actually did a marathon again, and that
Was
was
it
a
the same
much
one?
yeah, it's the very same one, same weather, the Madrid Marathon, but this time it was a much better experience because I was much more prepared for it.
And how did you do?
That was 3 hours 41, although,
Amazing.
but that was
Wow. So you went from over 5 hours to 3:40 or something.
yeah, yes. Uh,
Amazing.
but I think it was the shorter distances that I kind of noticed even more progress on. Like for a
Yeah.
half marathon, which I struggled to really struggled to finish, and then 2 years later I was doing 1 hour 28. And there's a mindset where I probably did about between 15 and 20 half marathons doing those 2 years, and
Wow.
every single one was a PB.
Excellent.
Every single,
Excellent. And
and
where were you based? Like, where were these taking place? Were they taking place in Spain?
yeah, they're all around, usually in the outskirts of Madrid. They have a lot of towns where it's kind of it's like at the village fair, and then they have a 10K run or a half marathon as part
Right,
of it,
right, right.
incorporated. More so than here,
Okay.
and that in that aspect of it is really good. So you get to kind of get to know uh, places really well by visiting all these towns you would never go to
Mm.
otherwise.
So okay. So we touched on where you're from, like currently, residing in Spain, and that's where most of your training takes place now. Probably tapping in and out of London from time to time on the occasional social run too, I guess, right?
Yep.
So brings me to ask you about 2025, and I mean, obviously, I know that because we both just about 2 months ago participated in the London Marathon 2025. So let's touch on that for a second. So let's talk about how you got your ticket and how you felt when you did.
Well, to actually to understand why I felt the way I did, you probably need to have a little bit of context because over time, obviously, I continued running, but I had a few periods out of it and had to. It was like trying to come back to running was quite a significant effort. So the climax of that was um, putting my application in for the London Marathon. Just as
Was
I mean,
that via the ballot?
it wasn't by the band. It was by Charity Right, who are an organisation
Okay.
who kind of put an advertisement for places that they were go
Hmm.
that were um, for their places for running the marathon. And those that ad had come and gone. I hadn't heard back from them. I thought the chance had gone. Then a second advertisement came up and said they've got one additional place. Um, and applied for that. And I still remember it was January the 2nd. Um,
Yeah.
in the morning. I was working at home, and a call came through to tell me that I've got a place at the London Marathon, and I still just
Oh
that
man.
feeling is still with me now because
I
it was the
bet. I bet.
conclusion of this journey. Yes, I'm back.
Excellent. Excellent. No, it's good to know that. To be honest, if I could recollect, I was away in October 2024 actually, and yeah, I put my name in the hat again. Similarly with Charity Riot, also Muslim Runners, our the running community club that we have in common, obviously. Yeah, so I was, but obviously it's still not guaranteed as to whether you're going to get a spot or not. And previously had entered the ballot for 2025, but obviously that didn't work out. We've got a habit of saying obviously, but
Mm.
yeah, I was away in October and I had a few emails, a few WhatsApp messages saying, "Did you get your email? Did you get your email? Did you get your email?" It's like, guys, what are you talking about? And they're like, check the email. The emails have come out as to whether you're like you got a spot for the London Marathon or not. And that was just it was emotional, just to get that. And now
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
know
it
that
was
feeling.
emotional because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to train for this now, right? Never done anything like that before. Haven't, or was it because I was just so chuffed that I had a chance to do this, a chance that had come to me so soon, and I can't thank Muslim runners and charity right any more than yeah, it was just the best feeling for a long
Yeah,
time. But
that's
anyway, that's my story. Save that
no.
for another day. Let's let's
But
come
I
back to
second
you.
that completely. What you said about there's the euphoria, and then you've got, oh dear, I've got this huge training block to deal
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
I've got to prepare,
yeah.
and the Muslim runners and community kind of made that so much easier. Because mentally it was like
Definitely,
a huge
definitely. Yeah.
challenge. What's the kind of euphoria of
Yeah.
getting the place four off? Um,
I mean,
and
the
it,
best thing is that there's people who have been there and done that. That's one thing. So you get
mm,
experience from them. There's people who are doing it for the first time, just like you. So you get to share your experience with them, see the highs, the lows. So you get to share all that with them too. Kind of makes sense as to whether you're on the right track or not, and everything. So that really helps. And the last thing is when it's all done before you just have that community to come back to and celebrate all with because we all did it together at the same time and the support is just immense. It's just the best part of it, I think.
yeah,
So
that's just
yeah,
another
no, go
thing.
on.
Another thing that I don't think, unless you have that support, you can't realize how important it is. I
No.
mean, our case is Muslim runners, but there are other running communities out there. Uh,
Oh yeah, sure,
and
sure, sure.
knowing that they've got your back, knowing that you're running on your own on a Sunday afternoon for hours,
Yeah,
sometimes in the
yeah,
dark, but knowing that they're out there too, and you're exchanging messages when you finished your run, and
yeah.
it's such a difference. Can't emphasize that.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's we're quite let's just say it's something to be grateful about the fact that we're part of a community and able to belong to a community. All the other running clubs, all the other running communities that I'm aware of through other runners who I've like rubbed shoulders with and touched base with, they've said the exact same thing, that support is just something that it just finds a way, and the sooner you get like hitched with that, the better it will be for you. And everyone's always out there to support. So that's the best part about it. But I want to let's talk about your training. So you've
Right.
got your ticket, April's on its way. Obviously, you found out in January. So what have you got? February, March, it's 3 months away.
Mhm.
And I found out in October. My training block started in November. But let's talk about yours because yours is a bit more exciting. Let's talk about that.
um, yeah, it's probably it's just depending on your starting point, it's kind of doable. I had a bit of a routine already in place, but not that kind of embedded it. And also with your this, um, it's more significant than it sounds. But my family, my wife and children, when they know that I'm training for something, they're a bit more tolerant when it comes to me not being there at the dinner table sometimes, and me having to, it's awkward sometimes because if you can't have a meal at the time necessarily always at the right time because it might be just before your time's to go for a run and I can't eat just now. Um,
Mm,
but gradually, yes, the pattern established itself. The long run on the Sunday is obviously really key, and it's what I really never allowed to slip. I try to really be
yeah,
rigid with
yeah.
that. The other ones during the week, depending on how work's going, um, I'm also very lucky
Sorry,
that
if I could pause you there for 1 second, Usman.
Mhm.
We'll come back to that, continue from there. But where did you actually get your plan from for starters? Like, how did you go about? Um, piecing that together.
I'm going to be
I'm
honest.
not saying you just picked it up off the back of a newspaper. I'm not saying
No,
that. I just
no.
I just want to know. I'm just I'm just intrigued.
To be perfectly honest with you, it was a lot of it was just verbal. It was my conversations because I'd been through.
Okay.
While I was in Spain, there was a coach we had there who used to hand out this piece of paper, an A4 piece of paper every week. This is what you do Sunday. This is what Monday, Tuesday. You had it there written down. Um, so I went into a little bit. It was a little bit more experimental. Um, I I used ChatGPT to say, what, put in my age and other variables, and it came up with a plan, and I roughly stuck to that. Um, but I did experiment. I did try a few different things. I wouldn't advise people experimenting too much because these plans, they're tried and tested. Um, so I did the honest answer is I did pick and choose a little bit. I just I did adjust it slightly. Um,
Okay.
everybody had
Thank
some
God for
different.
that.
No, but I did talk to people. It was a lot of conversations, and this is the kind of thing where Muslim runners or whatever community you're in are great for putting questions out there. I mean, there are kind of physiotherapists and running veterans that are in the group who could advise on different things. Um, yeah, in my case, the absolute key, the really important thing was the long run. So I never ever sort of allowed myself to skip that. Other things, it was the particular day that things might changed occasionally based on work, but I ensured that the basic elements were in there. That I had a speed session every a week, two kind of mid distance, mid pace kind of runs, and that was my bread
Mm,
and butter.
mm.
Um, and I'm very lucky also that near me there's an old man called Ken. I'm not if he's listening to this. Hi Ken. He's so I shouldn't call him an old man. He's been involved in running for like 50, 60 years. He's just and in a park he just does an interval session for
Did
any.
he do the Staines 10K?
That's the right. He's the organizer of the States 10K.
Okay, you introduced me to him during the Staines 10K.
Yeah, he's one of these characters everyone who's involved in running knows. Everyone knows Ken. No one knows his surname. He's just Ken. He's like, but he's such a he's without charging a single penny. He's put in all these years of service. He does a completely free interval session every Tuesday evening, um, which is kind of walking distance from my house. It's ideal. So I'm very lucky with that. So that again was a kind of a stable, unmovable part of my weekly training plan.
So ChatGPT took some advice from the community, which is always like the best thing to do. Touch base with Ken on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Sounds like he also has like what the driving, the weekly sessions like you mentioned, which always helped, and you can always dabble around your plan at the same time and stuff too. So that's really good. I'm glad that you actually had some the right. I'm not saying that you. I was expecting you to just have it the wrong way. No, no. I'm just saying it's like you did the right thing. You take the right boxes when you have a plan, because those plans are so theoretical. They don't reflect on normal life or reality at all. And that's why when you get a plan, they say you need to just what you do is you take a plan and you introduce real life into it. What you can do, what you can't do, that's all up to you. And you need to mold them around your day to day and your normal routine rather than you making changes to fit the plan into your like day to day life and stuff. Do you agree
Mm.
with that?
Definitely, definitely. I think we're part of the Strava generation where everything is quantifiable, and I don't think the world works like that. It doesn't take into account how you feel on every given day, um, and that's one of the things over time with age. I think you develop more of a sense for. Um, if you're a beginner, though, obviously stick to the plan until you know,
Hmm.
or if you've experienced otherwise.
So, okay, so that was touch base on training there. Come London Marathon Day, race
Mm.
day.
Right.
What were you thinking that morning? The conditions. Yeah, let's start with conditions first.
Um, I wasn't that worried because, bearing in mind my previous two marathons, although they were a long time ago, were in similar heat to summer temperatures. They were kind of
Okay.
mid 20s. So I was generally comfortable running those temperatures, or at least I thought I was. So I wasn't unduly concerned.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
I was more concerned about my journey to get there because of the Elizabeth line
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
transport getting
true, true.
so. Uh,
Yeah, it's funny. A lot plays on your head that day.
mm. But the excitement was more than anything else. The excitement outweighed
Sure.
any of those little niggling
But
concerns.
I'm sure you were reassured once you boarded that train. You just saw loads of other runners at that time of day, right? So who
Yeah,
were heading for the same destination.
yeah.
So
People's rucksacks in
okay,
my face, but
you.
all of them were smiling. Everyone was smiling.
How did you do? What was your finish time at the London Marathon?
Finish time was 4:45. Um,
Okay.
eh, I was
What actually one thing I want to I'm going to pause you right there. 4:45. What was your time in what was your second marathon time in
3:41.
3:41? So no, but wait. Let's talk about the age difference here from then to then. How many years in between are we talking about?
That's 22.
22 years
Yeah.
and you just added an hour to your PB. No, come on. That's huge. Seriously, that's huge.
Uh,
And you know what?
oh, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
it. I'm gonna give that. Yeah, forget about giving you a virtual pat on the back. I'm gonna give you a round of applause here. But and the first one was 5 hours.
That was 4:58, I think, something around there. Mm.
Okay, 4:58 without any training, thinking it was all ego, and Usman was just thinking he was all that, and he thought he was gonna come first, and got a taste of reality,
Yeah.
realized pretty soon that's not how life is. That's not what marathons are like. He has to put some time, some effort, some energy, some what do you call it, hard work into getting somewhere. Comes back 3 years later, pulls off a marathon in 3 hours 40 minutes. Takes a break, comes back 22 years later, and like smacks a good marathon out of the park for 4 hours 41 minutes. Did I get that right?
Yeah, yeah. But the kind of
Wow.
the competitor in me wants to keep doing PBs for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
that's one thing that I want to share here, that it's got nothing to do with how much time has passed or um like how long it's been, what age you are, when you start, when you don't start. You can pick up and like just get out there as soon as you want, whenever you want, and you can make the most of it. It depends about how much hard work you put in there, how much time, how much volume. It's not even about pace or speed. You just need to have. I'm not going to go into shoes today, but you just need to have the right. Well, you just need to have the right gear, the right mentality, the right community, the right support, and providing you put the time in, you can achieve something great. And that I have to say that that's what you've done is nothing short of that. So well done on that.
oh,
Um, let's go into the advice that you would give a new runner today. So suppose you were to bump into someone who were just starting afresh. What would you advise them? I mean, we've touched on a few things already: community, hard work, time, support. But how would you guide them?
yeah. Well, I've touched.
I mean, I'm sure you're not going to say, "Here, look at my phone. This is ChatGPT. You should
No,
learn to use this."
no,
Right.
no. I know there's a generation of people who would, but that's not the way to go, especially not as your first step. Um, I would say patience is absolutely key. Um,
Hmm.
if you want to progress, set realistic targets. Um, and one thing in the mindset, again, something that I had to get over is just um, sort of running for distances and always thinking about distances isn't necessarily the way to go. I think of time on your feet. So going for a a 10-minute run and then progressing to a half an hour run, not thinking about going from 1K to 5K, thinking of it at time. Because again, what I mentioned before is about how you're feeling during those 20 minutes or whatever it is that you're running for. You may cover way more distance on Monday than you do on the Saturday. Um, but you're still running that same amount of time, putting that same amount of effort and commitment and energy into the run. So I think it's just really time. Time is what is a key element which we don't think about enough of, and we think too much about distance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think you just touched on it right there. It's never too late. But there's a process on how you get started, and that means starting small, starting slow, not worrying about what anyone else is doing, how they started. We're all different. I think we've spoken about this offline as well.
Mm,
And the importance is that someone realizes that we're all capable, but we've got different capabilities. If you see what I mean. Just because someone got off and they've been able to do, I don't know, couch to marathon, that doesn't
mm,
mean you have to start the same way. The couch to 5K is not a bad call at all. I would advise anyone to start there. I didn't even know what park runs were when I started. Literally started doing a 2K, became a 5K in a matter of days. That's just where I realized that I could run, and that was enough for
mm.
me, to be honest. That was all I needed. So yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Just to add that, so when you get a lot of people doing the same thing and there's conventional wisdom, the reason it becomes conventional is because it works.
Yeah,
So don't, I mean,
have to
obviously,
change something. Don't go and reinvent the wheel, right?
yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I know people in a different sport, people say trust the process, but
yeah.
that's something that I would emphasize here. Trust the process. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
trust the fact that thousands of people before you have walked that same path, and
Yep,
you can get
yep.
there too.
And community and run clubs, those have that's a big aspect and has a lot to do with running today, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I contrast it with when I started running on the track, I was a sprinter. The only way I was school PE teacher at school, so there's only so much we can do for you here. Go and join a club, um, and sort of joined up for a club. But it's a bit of a commitment for whatever age you are. I mean, I was at like uh, about 13 years old at the time, and then for my mum to give me a lift there, or to get the bus home, to sign up for a club, to pay your membership for a year, and then uh, that kind of commitment is not always necessary nowadays. Since parkrun started, running became less formal, and now they've got these groups like Muslim runners that we're so familiar with,
Yep, yep.
who make it so much easier, that entry point into the sport. Whereas
True,
before
true.
you needed to make that commitment before you even start. And
Yep.
nowadays you can dip your toe in, have a go, see how you feel.
Yeah, no, to be honest, there's loads of run clubs out there. You ask for one, you get like a dozen, to be honest. Almost every
Mm,
brand out there, rightly so, doing
yeah.
it for the right reasons because they are attracting the newbies who they want to inspire people to go further. And it's really nice how someone can just join for like a 5K, and before you know it, they'll be back in the queue the following week to run that same 5K again. And that's it. You've got them hooked already because all you have to offer them is a bit of encouragement, a bit of support. People come back wherever they get that. That's the way the world works right now.
Mm.
So it's really good being a part of the community, the run clubs. I couldn't like enforce that more, to be honest. And yeah, Muslim runners definitely are doing just that. Um, what makes you? Let's break it down. Let's see if I can get some of your emotions going. Right? What makes you go again?
Oof.
Every day, every 2 days, every week. What makes you go again?
Um, eh, to begin with, when I go back to the years, it was competition. It was
Oh yeah,
beating somebody else. It
yeah.
was,
Let's go back to that first marathon where Usman thought he was going to come first.
yeah. uh, It did.
I'm never
I
going
mean,
to let that go, by the way.
but it came from, you get this at school. I was lucky I didn't get bullied, and a lot of it was because people saw me getting a prize or a presentation in front of the school, and it gave me some kind of
Hmm,
status,
hmm.
and that status was great. I thought lived off that, and obviously that it's not forever, and it's kind of evolved, and now I'm more about my
Hmm,
health.
hmm,
There's a line from a Native Dean track, which is, I
hmm.
don't need to get high. Some people do, and some people die. The life that I live may not be that long, but while I'm alive, I'll be healthy and strong. And it's exactly my headspace, my point of view, and it's
That resonates a lot with you.
absolutely, yeah, from the heart.
No, the good, strong words there, and it flows, honestly. Well delivered. I'd like to know what cereal box you got that off the back of. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, mashallah, really good, strong words there, and I'm sure they would continue to resonate with not just me but listeners. Hopefully, if they're out there, yeah, hoping so. So, Usman, tell me one thing. What would you do differently if you were to start today?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, Not that much, to be honest. There are certain things I did that were foolish without sort of preparation and warm up and little things like that. But generally, I'm glad that I've done the things that I've done.
I mean, to be honest, there's nothing. If you're happy with your journey, there's nothing to be upset about your journey
mm,
about, by the way. But
yeah,
if you would not have played it any differently, that's pretty impressive too.
uh, yeah, I think probably committing myself when I was much younger instead of kind of doing things not by half, but trying to do everything. Up to a certain age, it's great to do everything, but then you should. It's good to be realistic with your goals, and you can't be successful at any at
Mm,
everything.
mm.
Um, um, yeah, but yeah, I'm glad. Sort of in terms of running, I haven't done that many things I regret. Yeah, some silly things that got me injured.
Oh, it's funny you talked about injured. So let's talk about your injuries.
Right. Well, it was the back in the big half that I did last year was kind of a coming round full circle. It was like not quite the conclusion. The conclusion was when I got my place for the London Marathon. But I'd been in a place where for consecutive injuries for like a space of like almost 3 years, I hadn't
Mm,
done very much running. It had been interrupted, and I'd
right.
been told twice by doctors to give it up. Um,
Mm.
I'm now thinking of my best interest when they were saying that, but it's what they
Was
genuinely
that
thought.
was that more precautionary rather than like you're gonna lose your legs if you keep this up or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, but
More
but
precautionary.
yeah, but I think they was just looking at the mechanical and not looking at me as a person. Which is what they're trained to do. So no issue with that. But there was a physiotherapist who advised me beyond that and said, you just need to be able to do these exercises to get up to that threshold,
Mm,
not skip, do every exercise, be committed and patient. And it was a long journey, but I was actually be able to, put one foot in front of the other at some kind of relative speed once again. And that was and I'll never ever not appreciate being
mm,
able to run now. I mean, even that it was a good thing because I appreciate it so much now.
yeah.
The things that I took for granted earlier. So I really do. Uh, I love
Yeah,
every
no,
step I take.
amazing. Good to hear. It's good to hear that. Okay, so one thing I want to touch base on next is what's next? What have you got scheduled? What's up? What's remaining in 2025?
Well, I've signed up for the big half, which is in September,
Hmm.
which is the end of summer. Um, the Because of the training block will be it's different. It's not quite as mileage orientated. I'm
When do you
hoping
start training for that?
next week, hopefully. Um,
Hmm.
and that's going to be slightly more speed based. And I really wanted to do park runs. And that's the great thing about park runs is you can do one. You can do them every week. If it goes badly one week, you can do it the following week, which is not the
Yeah,
case with a marathon.
yeah,
So I really want to get quicker on those and just quicker on the flat. And it takes some variation in training, sort of hill sessions, which are quite difficult where I live. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but I
True.
just want to vary it, and then I don't say no to doing another marathon. It's not something I can quite take on board just yet.
Yeah. Do you always make it practice to have a plan in place for a half marathon too?
I will do this time
Hmm.
because, again, when I did them regularly, it was so long ago that I was with a club with a coach, and one of the things the coach used to say to me is, I'd ask about my training routine. He'd just say, "Look, I do the thing. Let me do the thinking. You just do the running."
Nice.
So it's quite. Whereas nowadays, you're kind of responsible for yourself. So
Well, just get out there and use your feet. Leave your brain with me.
yeah. There's something to be said for that. This is a good
Nice,
side.
nice. Okay, no, that's good to know. Hopefully we'll touch base at some point. I mean, to be honest, it's funny you're going to be training for a half. That's how we met.
Mm,
It was we were both going for the marathon this year, and funny enough, you came across one of my runs and just left a comment saying, "Finally, someone who is like not too far away from me and stuff." And before you know it, I thought I'm going to take this opportunity to reach out and see if we can do my first ever collaborated run. Never did any training with anyone before,
mm.
let alone a half. I mean, the only half I did with was at an event when you're running with like hundreds of other people. So and no, that was good. A run to Windsor and back
Yeah,
yeah. So
never look back from then.
no, no, no. And I guess since you'll be in your training block and so will I, we might just collaborate again. So yeah, let's look at our calendars once we're done and see if we can work something out.
You're on. Absolutely.
Cool. Sounds good. Usman, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and I really hope that we have a lot to take away from this, as well as not just entertainment, but understanding your journey so far. I'm sure there's a lot more coming your way, and a lot more that you're planning on giving. So, well done for everything so far, and hopefully we'll touch base again soon. So look after yourself, and good luck with the big half.
Thank you, lads. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to hearing other people on the show as well.
Cool. Yeah, hoping to have a lineup. Let's see if we can kick this off the right way. Grab some interest. Hopefully, we'll be talking very soon. Look after yourself. Take care. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Look after yourselves, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.